Okay, welcome everybody to the Two-Way Street Coffee House. Yeah. We have had live music in this room every Friday night for 55 years. Yes. So we are so glad that you came out tonight to participate in the wonderful tradition that is this room. We've had some amazing artists come through over the years, and we are so pleased that we get to carry on that tradition every Friday night here. We are one of the last remaining listening rooms, and because it is a listening room, we ask that you keep your conversations to a minimum. And by minimum, I mean not at all. That would be wonderful. And if you could also please double check your cell phones and make sure that the volume is off. We would really, really appreciate it. Okay, so now I am so very excited to welcome back to the Two-Way Street stage, Rory Makem. So can we please give him a warm Two-Way Street welcome?
There's a wintry breeze blowing through the muffled trees. I buttoned up my coat to keep me warm. Coffees are on the mend and I'm on the road again, with my foot snuggled close beneath my arm. I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of ropes. I have rosin in my pocket for the cold, and the fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. I'm as happy as a king when I catch a breath of spring, and the grass is turning green as winter ends, and the geese are on the wing, and the thrushes start to sing, and I'm headed down the road to see my friends. I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of ropes. I have rosin in my pocket for the cold, and the fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. Friends in every town as I ramble up and down, making music at the markets and the fairs, through the donkeys and the creels and the farmers making deals, and the yellow-headed chambers shouting wares. I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of ropes. I have rosin in my pocket for me gold, and the fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two. I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. Here's a health to one and all, to the big and to the small, to the rich and poor alike, and foe and friend. And when we return again, may our foes return to friends. May peace and joy be with you until then. I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of ropes. I have rosin in my pocket for me cold, and my fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. I've a fine felt hat and a strong pair of ropes. I have rosin in my pocket for me cold, and the fiddle strings are new, and I've learned a tune or two, so I'm well prepared to ramble and must go. Hello! I am so excited to be here. I can't even express how great it is. Either this or I'd be sitting at home watching reruns of MASH. And this is my favorite time of year. Well, one of my favorites, because it's getting warmer. I always start, my father used to start with that song this time of year. I saw a post of my own from Facebook there from 5 years ago. Just yesterday, 5 years ago, I heard the mating call of the black-capped chickadee, which means the spring is coming. And it makes you want to sing, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Will you help me sing?
You bet.
I know last time I was here, I had the most marvelous singers in the world. Where I came from, if you didn't sing, you wouldn't get the dinner. And so I learned to sing at a very young age. I remember one time around this time of year, St. Patrick's Day, I was in the 4th grade and we all piled out. I went to Dover Catholic in Dover, New Hampshire. And we all piled out into the hallway to hear this woman singing Irish songs. And I thought, come on, she can't be that good. It was my Aunt Molly. And she was fantastic, and she saw me, and she said, Rory, would you come up here and sing a song? And it was no bother to me. You know, I think I did The Wild Rover. And all the nuns frowned on it. there in public, but afterwards they're like, "Jeez, wasn't that great?" Try this. Oh, I love this time of year when my guitar goes out of tune. Every time this time of year. Near or in morn, in the county Galway, one pleasant evening in the month of May, I spied a damsel. She was fair and handsome, and her beauty fairly took my breath away. She wore no jewels nor costly diamonds, no paint, no powders, no none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders, yes, was a golden ball. You're the only one that knows it, Bill. I might just sing it about 50 times here. You'll know it by the end. We kept on walking. She kept on talking till her father's cottage came into view. She said, "Come in, sir, and meet my father, and for to please him, play the foggy dew." She sat me down all by the hearthside. I could see her father was 6 foot tall, and then her mother had the kettle singing, but all I could think of was the Galway shawl. No. She wore no jewels nor costly diamonds, no paint, no powders, no none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders, yes, was the Galway shawl. I played the blackbird and the stack of barley, Rodney's glory and the foggy dew. She sang each note like an Irish linnet, and the tears welled in her sweet eyes of blue. She wore no jewels nor costly diamonds, no paint, no powders, no none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders was the Galway shawl. 'Twas early, all in the morning, I took the road for sweet Donegal. She said, "Goodbye, sir." She smiled and kissed me. Now my heart belongs to that Galway shawl. Sing it now. She wore no costly diamonds, no paint, no powder, no at all. No, none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders she wore no jewels, nor costly diamonds, no paint, no powders, no, none at all. But she wore a bonnet with a ribbon on it, and around her shoulders was the Galway shawl, and around her shoulders was the Galway shawl. Here's to us. Who's like us? Damn few, and they're all dead. My granny was a great singer. My granny was from a village called Katy, and she always said it was in the Republic of South Armagh, where we serve neither king nor kaiser. Thanks be to God. Wasn't she right? She knew hundreds and hundreds of songs. In fact, she was the one that when Gene Ritchie and Deanne Hamilton and Alan Lomax and Pete Seeger went to Ireland, they all went to Sarah Makem's kitchen to get her singing. She knew hundreds and hundreds. She lived on Victoria Street in Katy. It was once called Lear Street, named after King Lear, Lew of the Long Hand, the king of the fairy people, the father of Cuchulainn. But the British government, you see, saw fit to rename it Victoria Street. I think they named it after a woman's lingerie catalogue. I'm going to Google that when I get home. But she lived there on Victoria Street, 44 Victoria Streets, where my father was raised. He was born up the street, but they tore all those houses down. And my granny bought the house that her mother owned and raised the family there on Victoria Street. And up around the corner is the monument. And she was born in the year 1900. And she lived her whole life in this small village. She was a weaver. She started as a teenager, young teen. She was 12 or 13. She was a doffer. Do you know what the doffers were? It was always children, because they were sent under the looms to collect the spent shuttles. And so she would collect the spent shuttles. She then became a spinner, not a spinster. She became a spinner and then later a weaver. And she lived there in Katy her whole life. And behind her house was a corrugated metal outhouse that was freezing cold on the hottest day of the year. I remember it vividly. It had a metal seat. It was awful. Behind that was Donnelly's Rock, a giant rock, and that's where all the children in Katy used to play. And behind that was a big green field, and that's where the British Army helicopters used to land. And one time, it was in the 70s, we were in the midst of the Troubles in the north of Ireland. And my granny was in her 70s herself. And she used to shop at this little shop at the end of Victoria Street called Bridgie's. She used to buy her potatoes and carrots and snuff. She loves snuff. And she was coming out of Bridgie's one day. She had 2 armloads filled with groceries. And who held the door for her but a young British soldier? And my granny was overheard to say, "Thank you, son. I hope the good Lord will save you a cool spot in hell." That was granny. And back in the 70s, my father and his old partner, Liam Clancy, were reuniting. And they were looking for songs to sing. And my father always remembered granny singing this song. She'd learned it in a school book when she was at school, and she left when she was 12 years old. It was a poem in the back of the book, and she always remembered it. And later in life, she put it to a tune we all know. And she used to sing it around the house. And my father wrote to her and said, "Ma, would you send me that song about the rose?" And so she got a notebook, and she filled that first page up with this song and filled the rest of the pages with all these songs that were in her head. And my father was stealing songs out of that for his entire career. And you're going to help me with it. When I was 21, I heard a wise man say, give crowns and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. Give pearls and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 21, no use to talk to me. And when I was 21, I heard him say again, that a heart out of the bosom, 'tis never given in vain. It's paid in sorrow plenty and sold for endless rue. And now, I am 22, and oh, 'tis true, 'tis true. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any. Come over the hills, my bonny Irish lass. Come over the hills to your darling. You choose the road, love, and I'll make the vow that I'll be your true love forever. And red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily, yes, here is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than any. 'Twas down by Killarney's green woods that we strayed, when the moon and the stars, they were shining. The moon shone its rays on her locks of golden hair, and she swore she'd be my love forever. And red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily, yes, of the valley. Here is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my love is fairer than it's not for the parting with my sister Kate. It's not for the grief of my mother. It's all for the loss of my bonny Irish lass. And my heart is breaking forever. And red, yes, is the rose that yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily, yes, of the valley. Here is the water that flows from the Boyne. When my love is fairer than any. For the Scots now. You'll take the high road and I'll take the low I'll be in Scotland afore ye, for me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. And red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows from the Boyne. But my God is fairer than I was from my granny. People have asked me, do you remember the first song you ever remember your granny singing? And I do. We moved to America in 1972, and we used to go back every year to visit Granny and Granda up in South Armagh. And I got a sister named Katie, and as soon as we'd walk in, it was the four of us. I had two brothers and my sister Katie, she was the oldest. Granny would see Katie and she'd sing, Katie, Katie, you're the only girl that I adore. And when the moon shines over the mountains, I'll be waiting at the kitchen door. And then she turned to me and my two brothers and she'd sing this song. I need a sip of water for it. And Granny always would make a trip to Bridges before we showed up, and she'd buy all this candy for us. And she hid it behind the curtain of the front room, and we always knew where to look for it. And so did my mother. Granny would sing, Mama, will you buy me, will you buy me, will you buy me, Mama, will you buy me, will you buy me a banana? Yes, my child, I'll buy you, I'll buy you, pulling teeth. Yes, my child, I'll buy you a banana. Ma, will you peel the skin? Will you peel the skin? Will you peel the skin? Ma, will you peel the skin of my banana? Yes, my child, I'll peel the skin. I'll peel the skin. Come on! Yes, my child, I'll peel the skin of your banana. Ma, will you have a bite? Will you have a bite? Will you have a bite? Ma, will you have a bite of my banana? Yes, my child, I'll have there's only 20 more verses. Have a bite, I'll have a bite. Yes, my child, I'll have a bite of your banana. Well, Mama, you're a greedy lout, you're a greedy lout, you're a greedy lout. Mama, you're a greedy lout, you ate all my banana. Anytime she'd be singing that song to us, every single time, her neighbour, his name was Paddy O'Brien, he would come and knock on the window so she could open the window so Paddy could hear her singing it. He loved that song. A great story. Paddy was a great character. Katie was full of characters, and Paddy was at the top of the list. One time, Paddy was on a Saturday night. He went out to the pub. He loved playing the fiddle and singing songs. And he was at the pub until 6 o'clock in the morning. And he got home that Sunday morning, and he crawled into bed from the bottom of the blankets. And he got into bed, and it seemed like just then his wife tapped him on the shoulder and said, it's time to get up and go to Mass. So Paddy rolled out of bed, and he put his pants back on, and he put his waistcoat back on, and he put his jacket back on. And he went to put his cap on to go to Mass, and his cap wasn't there. And he says, oh, Jesus, I must have left my cap at the pub. So they walk to the church, and they walk in, and as he's passing down one of the pews, he sees what he thinks is his cap hanging on the end of the pew. And it's right next to Seamus. And he thinks, geez, Seamus nicked my cap at the pub last night. He must have taken it from me. So as Paddy's walking by, he grabs the hat off this end of the pew and he sticks it in his jacket. And he and the wife sit down to Mass. And they're sitting there for the whole Mass listening to the homily and all. And after Mass, as they do in Ireland, everybody gathers outside the church, you see. And they're all chatting. And who was talking to the priest but Seamus? And over goes Paddy. And he takes the hat out of his jacket. And he says, Seamus, I thought this was my cap. I thought you stole it from me. But there it is. I'm giving it back to you. And Father McPriest says, Paddy, you were listening to my sermon, and I got to that 10 Commandments, and I was talking about the one, thou shalt not steal, and you felt the pangs of remorse, and you decided to return the cap to Seamus. And Paddy says, well, no, Father. I was listening to you, but it wasn't that one. It was when you got to, thou shalt not commit adultery. And I remembered where I left my cap. It's a true story. You'll never know. I'm going to keep trying that one until everybody likes it. What's the news? What's the news? Oh, my old Shelmers, with your long barrel guns from the sea. See what wind from the south brings a messenger here with a hymn of the dawn for the free. Goodly news do I bring you forth. Goodly news shall you hear, Bargy man. The boys march at morn from the south to the north, led by Kelly, the boy from the land. Tell me who is that giant with the gold curling hair, he who rides at the head of your van. 7 feet is his height, with some inches to spare, and he looks like a king in the land. Oh, my lads, that's the pride of the bold Shelmaliers, amongst our bravest of heroes a man. Bring your beavers aloft and give 3 ringing cheers for John Kelly, the boy from the land. And his score these at Plains and I'll Wexford is one, and the Barrow tomorrow we'll cross. On a hill o'er the town we have planted a gun that will batter the gateway to Ross. All the 4th and Bargymen will march o'er the heath with brave Hardy to lead in the van. But the foremost of all in the grim gap of death will be Kelly, the boy from the land. The gold sun of freedom grew dark in the Ross, and it's set by the Slaney's red waves. And poor Wexford, stripped naked, hung high on a cross, with her heart pierced by traitors and slaves. Glory, oh, to her brave sons who died for the cause of long downtrodden man. Glory, oh, to Mount Leinster's own darling and pride, Douglas Kelly, the boy from the land. That song was called Kelly, the Boy from Killaan. He was a real man. And it's about the rebellion of 1798, my favorite time in Irish history. I'll tell you why. You're asking, geez, Roy, why is that your favorite time? That's what you're thinking, right? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you why. That was when the Protestants and Catholics in Ireland were fighting together. And they were fighting for home rule. They wanted to be in charge of themselves and not be told to do from London. And it was organized mostly by Protestants because at the time in Ireland they were the only ones allowed to be educated. It was men like Theobald Wolfe Tone, Napper Tandy, Robert Emmet, Henry Joy McCracken and his sister Mary Ann McCracken. They would go all over Ireland and they'd put together small armies made mostly of school teachers and farmers. And they'd be fighting the most well-trained, well-fortified army on the face of the planet, the British Redcoats. And our United Irishmen were armed with the pikes. Do you know what the pikes were? They'd get the blacksmiths in the town to make they'd take an old farming instrument, and it was about a 6 or 7 foot long spike, and it had a sickle on the end. And this is what they were fighting the Redcoats with. And they didn't do well. In fact, they only won one battle the whole year. It was in a place called Vinegar Hill. And they were led by Father Murphy. He won the only battle. But Wexford was where lots of these battles took place. And there was a man, his name was Thomas Russell. He was from Cork, and he was one of these United Irishmen. He was one of the men who put it together with Wolfe Tone and Nabertandy. And he was up in the north of Ireland, not far from where my family's from. He was in County Down, trying to put a little army together. And one night he stopped in a pub just to warm himself by the fire. And all the men in the pub were looking at him going, "Jeez, I wonder if he's one of them, the United Irishman." And he was. Into our townland on a night of snow rode a man from God knows where. None of us bid him stay or go, or deemed him friend, nor damned him foe, but we stabled his big roan mare. Round our townland were decent folk, and if he didn't speak, well, none of us spoke. And we sat till the fire burned low. We're a civil sort round our wee place, and we made the circle wide round Andy Lemon's cheerful blaze, and we wished the man his length of days and a good end to his ride. Well, he smiled, and under his slouchy hat says he, "There's a bit of a joke in that, for we ride in different ways." Now, whilst we smoked, we watched him stare from his seat for an the glow. I nudged Joe Moore and says, "You wouldn't be on for asking who he's for meeting there, or how far he's got to go." But Joey wouldn't dare, nor Woolly Boy Scott, and he took no drink, neither cold nor hot, this man from God knows where. It was closing time and late for by when us ones braved the air. I never saw it worse than the sleet that night, and says I, "You'll find he's for stopping there." But at streak of dawn through the gabled pane, I watched him spur through the pelting rain, and I juked from his roving eye 2 winters more than the troubled year, when the best that a man could feel was a pike that he kept on Highlands near, till the blood of hate and the blood of fear was redder than the rust on the steel. Us ones quit from minding the farms, let them take what we give by the weight of our arms from St. Field to Kilkeel. In the time of the hurry, we had no lead. We all of us fought with the rest. And if ever a one shook like a trembling reed, none of us ever gave hint nor heed, not ever, even we'd guessed. We men of the north had a word to say, and we said it then in our own dour way. All over Ulster the wheemen cried for the standing crops in the land. But many's the sweetheart, and many's the bride, would have leave to his gone where he had died, and mourned lone by her man. But us ones weathered the thick of it, and we used to dander along and sit in Andy's side by side. What with discourse going to and fro, the night be wearing thin, but never so late when we'd rise to go, someone would say, "Do you mind the snow on the man that come wandering in?" And we'd beat the fall to the talk again, if by any chance he was one of them, this man that rode like the wind. It was getting past the heat of the year when I rode to Newtown Fair. I sold as I could. The dealers were near, £2.8 for the Innish steer, nothing at all for the mare. I met McKee in the throng of the street, and says he, "The grass is growing under our feet since they hanged young Warwick here." And he told me that Boney had promised help to a man in Dublin town. So says he, "If you've hung your pike on the shelf, you'd best go home hot foot by yourself and once more take her down." So by Cumber Road I trotted the grey, and I never cut corn till Killalay stood high on the rising ground. For a wheen of days we sat waiting word to go at it like men. But no French ship sailed into Cloughy Bay. And we got the dark news on a harvest day that the cause was lost again. And Joey and me and Willie Boy Scott, we all agreed would leave us not be found in the thick of the slain. By Downpatrick jail I was bound to fare on a day I'll remember feth. For when I reached the prison square, the people were gathering hundreds there, and you couldn't hear stir nor breath. The soldiers were standing grim and tall round a scaffold built fornint the wall, when a man stepped out for death. Now, I was brave and near the edge of the throng, yet I knowed his face again, and I knowed his set, and I knowed his walk, and the sound of his strange, up-country talk, for he spoke out right and plain. And then he bowed his head to the swinging rope, and I said, "Please God," to his dying hope, and amen to his dying prayer, that the wrongs would cease and the right prevail. For that man they hanged in Downpatrick jail was the man from God knows where. Oh, see the 3-foot hosts of men who speed with faces one, from Farnstead and from Fisher's Cut, along the banks of Bann. They come with vengeance in their eyes. Too late are they. For young Roddy Macaulay goes to die on the bridge of June today. Up the narrow streets he steps, smiling, proud and young. Above the hemrope on his neck, the golden ringlets clung. There is never a tear in his blue eyes, both glad and bright are they, as young Roddy Macaulay goes to die on the bridge of June today. When he last stepped up that street, his shining pike in hand, behind him marched in grim array a stalwart, earnest band. For Antrim town, he led them to the fray. And young Roddy Macaulay goes to die on the bridge of June today. There is never a one of all your dead more bravely fell in fray than he who marches to his fate on the bridge of June today. True to the last, he treads the upward way. And young Roddy Macaulay goes to die on the bridge of June today. Hey. Roddy Macaulay was arrested in 1798 when he was 16 years old. And he was in jail, and they hung him in 1803 in Tombridge in County Antrim on the banks of Loch Ness, the largest lake in the British Isles. And they didn't want anybody celebrating him, so after he died on the gallows, the workmen just dug a hole right there. And they took him and they buried him on the road right by the bridge. And for 100 years, people were walking over him, didn't even know he was there. In the late 1880s, workmen went to fix the bridge, and they were digging a hole, and they found the bones of Roddy Macaulay. And they knew exactly who it was. They couldn't believe it, and they got in touch with the family, and they had a big ceremony and they reinterred him in the churchyard in Tombridge. So Roddy McCorley is home. You didn't know you were going to get educated coming tonight, did you? We'll do one more song here and then we're going to take a short break, give you a chance to buy some wares up there. And I don't have any myself. You know, I'm working on a CD. I've been working on it for like 20 years. Every time I finish something, I'm like, that's no good, and I start again. But if you're interested, I'm taking a trip to Ireland in May with my good friend Donald Clancy. He is Liam Clancy's son. And we're going to tour all around Ireland in a coach, singing songs the whole way, and you're invited if you're interested in that. And you can talk to me. And in November, this year, 2026, is going to be the second annual Tommy Makem Festival in Cady, County Armagh. My father was Tommy Makem. And I'm going to do a concert at it. And we're going to put a bunch of Americans on a coach and bring them over for that too. If you're interested in that, it's going to be November 3rd through the 10th or something like that. Talk to me. I'm the man to talk to. Other than that, you're going to have to go on vacation on your own without me. We'll do one more and take a break. I was talking to a man there who saw my father and the Clancys way, way back here at the Gate of Horn. Anybody remember the Gate of Horn? And they sang this one that night. We're gonna butcher it ourselves tonight. I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long ways from home. And if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry. And a moonshine don't kill me, I'll live till I die. Try that.
I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long ways from home. And if you don't like me, well, leave me alone.
I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry. And a moonshine don't kill me,
I'll live till I die.
I've been a moonshiner for many a year. I spent all my money on pints of green beer. I'll pull some hollow, I'll set up my still, and I'll make you a gallon for a $2 bill. I'm a rambler, and if you don't, I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry, and a moonshine don't. I will go to some hollow in this country. 10 gallons of wash I can go on a spree. No women to pummel, the world is all mine. Sure I love them so well as I love the moonshine. Hey! I'm a rambler, and if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry, and a moonshine. Oh, moonshine, dear moonshine, oh, how I love thee. You killed my own father, but there you try me. Now bless all moonshiners, and bless all moonshine. Sure their breath smells as sweet as the dew on the vine. I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long way from home. And if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm and a moonshine don't kill me. I'm a rambler, I'm a gambler, I'm a long ways from home. And if you don't like me, well, leave me alone. I'll eat when I'm hungry, I'll drink when I'm dry. And a moonshine don't kill me, I'll live till I die. Stick around.
Rory Makem, everybody. A big round of applause. All right, as Rory mentioned, we're going to take about a 10 or 15-minute break. The restrooms are down the hall and to the left, and you can refill all of your snacks and beverages. And we'll see you back here in about 15 minutes.
Thank you.
You have a flyer for your tours?
You know, I didn't get a chance to print them, but I can write it down for you.
That I can photograph?
Oh, yeah. Or a website you can go to. BrackTours.com.
What tours?
Brack, B-R-A-C-K. I don't know. The November one's not up there yet. They're still ironing out the wrinkles.
Okay, thank you. So do you actually have CDs over there or not?
I do not. I ran out of them, and I'm working on one, so I didn't want to go through the financial burden of printing the old ones.
Do you sell any of them just with a code to download?
That's on my list of things to do. You might not believe this, but
All right. So by the way,
Hey, Rory,
CDs
have you met Jiminy Cricket?
CDs don't.
all right. So here's your test.
All right,
How many of Mary Pat Kelly's books have you read?
a couple of them.
Did you really? Yeah.
Couldn't tell you how many. Not as many as Morgan Llewellyn. I read all of her books.
Where was it? You went to school with her? Where is that? I like her style. It's quite unique as I see it.
Boy, you know all the words, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Woolworth sweater?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you from?
Your name? Right. Anthony, I'm Bill. Bill. I haven't been here in 22 years. Last time I was here. Yes, it is. It's amazing.
Cozy?
Lovely. Great group.
It really is. It really is.
so not to be constrained about having to get going with everybody else. If you've done both. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we only missed one exit off a roundabout. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it was, yeah, the GPS I bought counted off the turns, and I can't remember quite why it happened. It took us maybe 5 miles out of the way by the time we got back. It was going on to one of the A roads, and so it takes long to get back. I think that time we had to do a one-lane thing for a bit too to get back. The tour bus was, I think, more alarming than my driving on the opposite side of the road. I mean, some of those, I'm not sure why they don't pull in the mirrors. Yeah, we didn't, I don't remember any spots where it's desperately tight. I mean, and the people coming the opposite way on that one lane road somehow pulled off or just in time, or I pulled off just in time. Decades ago, I drove in. I don't know how we would have managed it. And this one particular case that I don't remember any turnout or anything else, and it was a long ways backwards. Oh. Yeah, mine was in 2017, the second one. The first one was 2016.
The weekend after the walk. It's going to be a tricky trip to Vegas to Phoenix.
We stayed in the hotel.
Yeah, well,
Inside the
I
casino.
think the CIE tour was a good opposed to the other one because they lined up things that we wouldn't have known of or known to do or whatever else. Yeah. I was trying to get into as many castles as I could on the road.
or aviation.
Oh,
Between that,
nice. You laugh at this, so
2024,
the older of my two younger brothers married a gal who claimed to have grown up in a castle in Ireland. And it always irritated him when she would say that. But what he wouldn't have realized is that what is called a castle may or may not really look much like that. You know, and they like to throw that moniker on most anything. And one of the things was that was kind of funny. We stayed in one place. It was a little bit more than a B&B, sort of like a small hotel. And it had been a house. And then they had one of those tower-like things that people would build to protect themselves temporarily. Anyway, it's called a castle. So the guy was. He was serving meals, whatever. The first one I made. Good meals. I forgot what I asked him, and it totally turned it around. It had something to do with agriculture and the government. I can't remember what it was. But it was fun though to be in places where it wasn't just
very seldom.
I made a mistake.
I've taken the word to play golf.
I can't remember what it was. Which was a massive hotel. They called itself a castle.
I enjoy doing it.
And we ended up down in this big wing where there was this bridal party. It must have been until 2 in the morning or something. That's the hotel name. That never rings a bell, but I'd have to look at my notes and make sure.
that's in Palm.
Is it really not so much a castle just with a few decorations on it? Oh, then that's not it, because this wasn't really a castle. And what I need to do is to get my brother's widow to send me a picture sometime of what the castle she lived in was, to see whether it was much of a castle. Yeah, the one castle that I was in, 2 times 740 there, was Bunratty. I'm guessing you were, but I don't know about you. I would not have wanted to live in Bunratty. It looked claustrophobic getting in and out, and I didn't see anything particularly comfortable.
They weren't built for comfort.
I know, yeah. I mean, yeah, oh, I'll tell you funny. This goes back, I don't know, maybe 40 years.
Well, I'm gonna.
So the company I worked for a time, I was my boss associated with our English operation, and so they checked us into this manor or whatever it was. And I came to my room, couldn't Rory. And I know, I figured out on my own or had to ask help. But anyway, it was in a wardrobe. They converted a wardrobe to a bathroom. Well, I mean, that was their way of making an individual room and whatnot. I'm guessing they probably had somebody built the thing that just not do their own. But that was pretty funny. They couldn't find the bathroom. By the way, one of my cars actually had run CDs.
All right.
So now you just look like crestfallen.
Okay, everybody, we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. And while you guys are finding your seats again, I wanted to let you know about some of the wonderful things that are coming up here at the Two-Way Street Coffee House. You will find some flyers on your table, which they don't talk, but you can read about all the wonderful things that are coming up over the next few weeks here. Next Friday night, we have Lee Murdoch, so you're not going to want to miss that. The week after that, we have Kitty Donahoe. So 2 amazing artists coming up in the next few weeks. We also have a lot of sing-arounds and song circles and jams and barn dances, so be sure to check out www.twowaystreet.org for more information for that. 2 special events that I wanted to mention that are coming up. April 12th, we have our first 2026 Heritage Matinee Concert, part of that series where we have a few, I think 3 dates throughout the year where we'll have a Sunday matinee concert starting at 3. And all the donations collected help support the Two-Way Street Coffee House. So yeah, we have a couple of those coming up, and we also have a tango night, which will be April 19th. That's going to be held in the big room. So even if you don't tango, you can come and listen. So it's going to be a great acoustic trio playing tango music, and it's going to be marvelous. So that's April 19th. So be sure to check out your flyers. In the hallway, we also have all kinds of flyers for not only here, but also Maple Street Concerts, St. Tim's, Acoustic Renaissance. So be sure to check all of those out. Wesley's Place.
Acoustic Rennie has a concert tomorrow night. If you guys are looking for more live music. So.
Absolutely. So we've got so much great music in the area for you all to choose from. Okay, so I am done talking. So we are going to welcome back to the stage Rory. A big round of applause.
One evening of late and abandon I strayed, and bound for Clonakilty I was making my way. But Ballina scared me some time I delayed, for to wet me hell whistle with porter. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tatum, tidry-o-tum, tidry-o-tow, tum. Tidry-o-tatum, toodly-da-do. I scarcely had travelled a mile up the road when I heard a dispute in the farmer's abode. The son of the landlord, an ill-looking toad, and the wife of the bold-tenant farmer. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tatum, tidry-o-tow, tidry-o-tow, tum. Tidry-o-tatum, toodly-da-do. Now what in the devil has come over ye all? When I come for the rent, sure you've nothing at all. But early next session you'll pay for it all, or you'll take the high road to Dungarvan. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tatum, tidry-o-tow, tidry-o-tow, tum. Tidry-o-tatum, toodly-da-do. Hurrah for the bold tenant's wife, she replied. You're as bad as your daddy on the other side. The National Land League will put down your pride, for they're able to bear every storm. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tatum, tidry-o-tow, tidry-o-tow, tum. Tidry-o-tatum, toodly-da-do. I spit in my fist and I picked up my stick, and down the coach road like a deer I did trip. I cared not for bailiff, landlord, or old Nick, and I sang like a lark in the morning. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tatum, tidry-o-tow, tidry-o-tow, tum. Tidry-o-tatum, toodly-da-do. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tow, 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 tum. Tidry-o-tatum, tidry-o-tow, tidry-o-tow, tum. Tidry-o-tatum, toodly-da-do. Welcome back. Did you have a good break? Were there long lines? No. My father used to say when there were long lines, you can't hold what you haven't in your hand. It'll hit you on the way home. We're coming in to the St. Patrick's season, and you are going to get beat over the head with green beer and plastic green hats and bagpipe bands. That one I don't understand. I was in Walgreens yesterday, and they have a whole section of all this green stuff, and it all had 4-leaf clovers on it. Oh, Jesus. Now that one's upside down. I guess so the luck doesn't run out, right? And my father and his old cohorts, the Clancy brothers, I've always thought they came through, they were coming out of like the darkest times for Irish music. vaudeville Irish and lampooning Irish people,
Yeah.
and we were downtrodden, and they had respect for our culture and what we do. And they fought against it, and they won the battle. And they're all gone now, and we're being beaten over the head with Celtic rock and
Yes.
just
Help us. God help us.
it has nothing to do with our culture we came from and the culture we like to celebrate and share with everybody. I applaud you all for coming tonight. We've been singing songs like this in my family for generations. My granny was a great singer. Her mother, Catherine, was from the Green family, this famous singing Greens of Katie. She had an uncle one time who disappeared one day, didn't show up for work, and he was gone for 2 weeks. And the boss came to the house, "Where's Paddy?" "I don't know." Nobody knew. And he showed up 2 weeks later, and he had a trophy. He'd gone to Scotland, and he won a singing competition. Try this. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, da-dee. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-dee. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. A gypsy rover come over the hill, down through the valley so shady. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. Right. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, da-dee. Yes. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. She left her father's castle gate, she left her own fond lover, she left her servants and her estate to follow the gypsy rover. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, da-dee. Try it. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. Her father saddled up his fastest steed, and he roamed the valleys all over, sought his daughter at great speed, and the whistling gypsy drove over. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, da-dee. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-dee. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang. Yes. He came at last to a mansion fine, down by the river so shady, and there was music and there was wine for the gypsy and his lady. On your own, try it. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. He is no gypsy, my father, she cried, but lord of these lands all over, and I will stay till my dying day with my whistling gypsy rover. On your own, try it. And he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-doo, da-dee. Ah-dee-doo, ah-dee-day-dee. He whistled and he sang till the green woods rang, and he won the heart of a lady. That song was written by a man named Leo McGuire in 1958. We all think it's an old song, but well, I guess it is now.
And if you're born in the 40s.
But he, everybody thinks it's an old theme. It's in every culture, but he wrote it in 58. He worked at Walton's Music in Dublin, and he used to go into O'Donoghue's all the time. And one night in the early 60s, Liam Clancy was in there and heard him singing that song. And he said, I'm going to steal that song from you. And he did. And of them all, my father wrote a lot of songs. He wrote a lot of great songs that have entered the Irish music lexicon. Songs like Farewell to Carlingford, or The Boys of Killybegs, Four Green Fields. He wrote a song called Give the Woman in the Bed More Porter. It was a great song. And he wrote a lot of songs about my mother. And she hated every single one of them. All these songs, her name was Mary, and he wrote all these songs about my mother, Mary. And she hated them all. She hated hearing her name in a song. She didn't like people even looking at her. And she was a beautiful woman. And strange enough, here she was not far from where we are right now. Born and raised in Garfield Park. How about that? And in 1962, her girlfriend begged her to go to this concert in Chicago to see this Irish band. And my mother didn't want to go. She didn't like Irish music, never did. But her friend loved it, and they went, and they got backstage after the show, and my father saw her and said, would you like to go out for a burger and a Coca-Cola? And she said yes. And here I am, all these years later. And when I first moved to Chicago, Christmas Day, I dropped my wife and daughter off at Midway Airport to go back to New Hampshire for a visit. And I stayed, and I said, I'm going to find my mother's house. And I'm driving in a Volvo around Garfield Park. I went around 3 times and thought I was pushing my luck. I think I saw a Christmas drug deal go down. But I got out of there. Her house is torn down. And there it was. My grandfather, Patrick Shanahan, he was a big man in the IRA in Kerry, in Listowel, back in 1916. He joined the IRB in 1912. He was only 21 years old. And he was the man, if you know any Irish history, he was sent out. He was the officer sent out looking for Roger Casement, who was the man. And Roger Casement dethroned King Leopold for all the atrocities on the Amazon River. But back to my mother. My mother moved to Ireland with my father and my sister and my brother. Me and my 2 brothers were born in Ireland. And we lived in a house called Dromiskin House in a village of Dromiskin. It was the old manor house. And do you know who Major General Robert Ross was?
No.
He was the commander of British forces in America in the War of 1812. And he is reputedly the man who lit the match who burned down our White House. Now, at some point in the early 90s, Robert Ross lived in a village called Ross Trevor, just across Carlingford Lough from where we were. Tommy Sands lives in Ross Trevor. And his house was there, and in the early 1900s, they were renovating it. And the people who owned our house, this is a long story, settle in. The people who owned our house knew they were taking the windows out of that house, and those were better windows that were in our house. So they bought the windows from Robert Ross's house, put them in our house. Now, years later, it's 1965, and we're living in Dromiskin. I wasn't even a flicker in my mother's eye at the time. And my parents decided to renovate our house and replace the windows. And my mother knew the story of the windows, and the workmen were there, and they pulled the windows out, and they were putting them on a big truck to maybe dump them in the Irish Sea. And my mother said, no, I want those windows piled up in the side yard here. They didn't know what she was at there. And my father was away in America with the Clancy brothers singing songs. And she was by herself with 2 children in this giant 30-room house. And there's the pile of windows, and my mother put the babies in the car, and she drove to the filling station and bought a gallon of petrol. And then she went to the off-license and got herself a bottle of wine. And she put the kids to bed, my sister and my brother, and She went out and doused Robert Ross's windows in gasoline, and she lit them on fire, and she drank her bottle of wine. My mother burned down the house, the man who burned down the White House. That was my mother. So my father eventually wrote a song about her that she loved. It's because he didn't use her name. And I used to play guitar with him for 17 years. I toured with him, and he sang this song every night. And she died in 2001. And the song disappeared from the set list. And months later, we were playing up in South Armagh, and I'm sitting next to him. And he walks up to the microphone and he says, "When you are old and gray and full of sleep and nodding by the fire." And I knew it was coming. And I started weeping and weeping. And he sang it. It was perfect. So we're going to sing it for my mother, if I can make it through it. Fair and lovely Annie, your gentle ways have won me. You bring peace and joy and laughter everywhere. Where you go, the sunshine follows. You're a breath of spring in winter, and my heart and soul are always in your care. Gentle Annie, gentle Annie, and my heart and soul are always in your care. When you touch me with your fingers, my cares and worries vanish, like the morning dew before the rising sun. When your eyes tell me you love me, then my soul is filled with wonder, and my love for you will live when life is done. Gentle Annie, gentle Annie, and my love for you will live when life is done. You're the flower among the flowers, you're the bird's song in the morning, you're the laughter of the children at their play. You're my hope and joy and wisdom, you're my reason just for living. You're my treasure, you're my very night and day. Gentle Annie, gentle Annie, you're my treasure, you're my very night and day. When the mountains all come tumbling and the earth has stopped its turning, when the winds don't blow and stars refuse to shine, when the moon has left the heavens and the seven seas are empty, I will still have gentle Annie on my mind. Try it. Gentle Annie, gentle Annie, I will still have gentle Annie on my mind. Gentle Annie, gentle Annie, I will still have gentle Annie on my mind. Now my granny had a sister named Annie that my father lived with when he first moved to America, but I think that was about my mother. That's all. I'm pretty sure. That's what we were all told. Oh, the sun in the morning came over the mountains, and the thrush and the linnet, they were singing in each tree. And as I walked along, well, I thought I'd find glory if I'd list in the army, a soldier lad to be. Oh, I'm going back to the town of Rostrevor, where the gentle rippling waters meet the mighty Morden shore. And whenever I return, I will stay there forever in the town of Rostrevor with the girl I do adore. Well, they gave me a hat and a fine coat of scarlet, and the sergeant came up and put a musket in my hand. And they taught me to drill and to march in formation and obey all the orders whenever he'd command. Oh, I'm going back to the town of Rostrevor, where the gentle rippling waters meet the mighty Morden shore. And whenever I return, I will stay there forever in the town of Rostrevor with the girl I do adore. Well, the fifes sweetly played, and the drums they did rattle on a ship. Then we sailed far across the raging sea. And the cannons they did roar, and the wars they were cruel. Oh, hard is the life of a soldier lad like me. Oh, I'm going back to the town of Rostrevor, where the gentle rippling waters meet the mighty Morden shore. And whenever I return, I will stay there forever in the town of Rostrevor with the girl I do adore. Well, my time it is up, and I'm leaving tomorrow. After 3 years of hardships, once more I will be free. So farewell to the guns, the drilling and the marching, and when I get back home, no more soldiering for me. Oh, I'm going back to the town of Rostrevor, where the gentle rippling waters meet the mighty Morden shore. And whenever I return, I will stay there forever in the town of Rostrevor with the girl I do adore. Oh, I'm going back to the town of Rostrevor, where the gentle rippling waters meet the mighty Morden shore. And whenever I return, I will stay there forever in the town of Rostrevor with the girl I do adore. Not a great song about Rostrevor. I'm going to sing you the saddest song you've ever heard. And you're going to help me with it. I know you're thinking, Rory, a sad song that's a sing-along? Well, this one is. It's about, my father would call it about an old maid, but he never called them old maids, would he? He'd call it one of life's unclaimed treasures. Remember that? Ah, well. It says, I'm going to go, I hope so, and you roar back, I hope so. Or don't. Maybe I'll just sing it on my own. I hope so.
I hope so.
I say so.
I say so.
And then I'm going to sing a few words, and then at the end we all say, poor old woman. Can you do that?
Yep. Poor old woman.
Very good. In an attic room in Portydown, a poor old woman spread the news around. She'd been 60 long years in her old top flat, with no other company but her old tomcat. And I hope so, I say so, with no other company but her old tomcat. Here we go. Poor old woman, sat in her fireside chair, when who do you think should appear right there? I'm your fairy godmother, have no fear, to grant 3 wishes they sent me here. And I hope so, I say so, to grant 3 wishes they sent me here. Everybody sing. Poor old woman. The old woman looked down at her empty purse. I could always use some cash, of course. The old fairy waved her wand around, and there on the table was £10,000. And I hope so, I say so, and there on the table was £10,000. Poor old woman, with a lovely face and a figure divine. For just one day, well, I wish they were mine. The old fairy said, I'll have a go. And she made her look just like Bridget Bardot. And I hope so, I say so. She made her look just like Bridget Bardot. Poor old woman. Now this lovely girl by the fireside sat. She started making eyes at her old tomcat. He's my only love, so here's my plan. Tonight, turn my cat into a handsome man. And I hope so, I say so. Tonight, turn my cat into a handsome man. Everybody sing. Poor old woman. This is the sad verse. Get the handkerchiefs out. Now this handsome man to the woman drew near, and he whispered softly in her ear, the night is young, but you'll regret the day that you took me to the vet. Come on. That deserves a bigger laugh than that. You don't get it. I'll explain it later. I hope so, I say so, the night that you took me to the vet. Last time. Poor old woman. You'll get that one on the way home too. Once you think of it, it's very, very funny. I've made no secrets in my life. I've had only a handful of real music heroes. My father was one. My granny, Pete Seeger, and Liam Clancy. I loved Liam Clancy. It was not always the case, though. Back in the 70s, when my father and Liam were touring together, and he was living in Calgary at the time, and he'd come out and stay with us in Dover, New Hampshire. And one day they had the day off, and my father knew Liam loved the sea. And so we lived near the Nubble Lighthouse in Maine, Kennebunkport, Maine, and the most beautiful lighthouse in all of America. And my father said, we'll go up to the lighthouse. And so we all ran out to the brown paneled station wagon. I know we all had them, 1978. And before he got in, Liam looked right at me, and he stopped, and he went back in the house, and he came out with a toothpick. And he put that in his pocket. I thought that was very strange. Anyway, we get up to the lighthouse, and my brothers and my sister and me are running around the tide pools, pulling out sea urchins and looking at all kinds of stuff. And Liam Clancy shouts over to me, Rory, come over here. And I run over, yes, Liam. And he bends down, and he picks a snail off a rock, and he says, what would you call that? I said, well, I'd call that a snail. Oh, no. That is a periwinkle. Or as my brother Tom used to call it, a shellicky bookie. Does anybody remember that? Shellicky, shellicky bookie, but out all your horns, All the ladies are coming to see ya. Harmony here, Bill. Shallocky, shallocky, bookie, put out all your horns. All the ladies are coming to see ya. He said, that is a shallocky bookie. And at that he took the toothpick out of his pocket and he pulled the snail from the shell and he looked right at me and said, and they taste best if you let them crawl down on their own. I said, that man is my hero. I've always loved him singing. And Chicago here has been a hotbed of great folk music for generations. We have one in the house tonight. And there was one called Michael Smith from years and years ago. Michael wrote a lot of great songs here, Spoon River. He wrote a song when he was in Florida one time. Oh, sorry, Sean Farrell. And go see him anytime you can, phenomenal. We hardly ever get to see each other, but his brother's from New Hampshire. So hello there, Brother Farrell. He probably went to bed.
No, he's listening.
Oh, okay, all right. And one night, Liam Clancy was playing in Detroit on his own, and Michael Smith went in to see him. And afterwards, he went up to him and said, my name's Michael Smith, I'm a songwriter. And Liam said, well, that's very good, Michael. Would you buy me a pint? And he did. And the girlfriend said, why don't you play him a few songs? And he had a cassette tape and he played a few songs that he wrote. And every one he'd play, Liam would say, no, terrible song. And then the girlfriend said to Michael, why don't you sing that song you just wrote? So he took the guitar out and he sang the song, and Liam said, that is a keeper. I will take that song. And though it's a Michael Smith song, to me it will always be Liam Clancy's song. So my tribute to Liam. Dutchman is not the kind of man to keep his thumb jammed in the dam that holds his dreams in. That's a secret only Margaret knows. When Amsterdam's golden in the morning, Margaret brings him breakfast. She believes him. Thinks the tulips bloom beneath the snows. He's mad as he can be, but Margaret only sees that sometimes. Sometimes she sees her unborn children in his eyes. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. The Dutchman still wears wooden shoes, his cap and coat are patched with mud that Margaret sewed him. Sometimes he thinks he's still in Rotterdam. He watches tugboats down canals and calls out to them when he thinks he knows the captain. Till Margaret comes to take him home again, through unforgiving streets that trip him though she holds his arm. Sometimes he thinks that he's alone and he calls her name. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the clouds rise above the Zuyder Zee. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Windmills swirl the winter in, She winds his muffler tighter, and they sit in the kitchen. And the tea with whiskey keeps away the dew. He sees her for a moment, calls her name, she makes his bed up, humming some old love song. She learned it when the tune was very new. He hums a line or two, they hum together in the night. The Dutchman falls asleep, and Margaret blows the candle out. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Sea. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me. Let us go to the banks of the ocean, where the walls rise above the Zuyder Sea. Long ago, I used to be a young man, and dear Margaret remembers that for me.
Sorry, Chris, I called you Sean there for a second. I'll get it right one of these days. He's a great man. I played this gig up in Nova Scotia years ago. In Canso, Nova Scotia. It's just under Cape Breton, but way out. It'd take you 3 hours to get up to Cape Breton if you had to drive. And it's the tribute festival to one of Canada's greatest ever. Stan Rogers. Stan wrote so many great songs. And he, the one he's probably best known for was about a boat that sank in Halifax Harbor back in the 1980s. Now, the story goes that the boat had the 4 fishermen on it and the captain, and they were going out to fish the Grand Banks. But they weren't at all. They were going up to Newfoundland to fill the hold with screech. You know what screech is? We Irish would call it pochine. Here in America, you call it moonshine. And they filled the hold with moonshine, and they were on their way back to Halifax to distribute it. And the sailors got into the hold as they're coming in. And the captain says, right boys, take her between those 2 rocks. And there was only the 1 rock. And they crashed into it, and the boat went to the bottom of Halifax Harbor. And the fishermen swam to the shore, and they survived. And every night they'd sit in the pub drinking, we're going to raise that boat. Because the owners wrote it off. They didn't want anything to do with it. The insurance paid more than it was worth. But the sailors spent their whole time on it. And that spring, they hired the proper tools, and they raised the Mary Ellen Carter from the bottom of Halifax Harbor, which wasn't a huge feat in the 1980s. But I don't think Stan was talking about a boat, was he? Stan was talking about us, you and me and everybody else. No matter what hits you, when you get knocked down, you get yourself back up. You pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you say, I'm going to rise again. I'll rise again, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter. Rise again. Rise again. Rise again. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. In the pouring, driving rain, the skipper he
And the groan she gave as she went down was a stiff old lane that Mary Helen Carter rise again. Well, the owners wrote her off for a nickel they spend. She gave 20 years of service fine at the sorry end. The insurance paid the loss to us, so let her rest me bow. They laughed at us and said we had to go. We talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. Oh, she's worth $250,000, up holding at the dock. And with every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain and make the Mary Helen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Let her name not be lost to the dawn. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Helen Carter rise again. All spring now we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 guys and in hard house since I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the curves here are slow, or I never have strength to go. When we catch her and we stop her, then start patch and portal down. I cables to her fore and aft and then turn her around. Tomorrow new we'll hit the air and then take up the string and watch the Mary Helen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. Let her name not be lost in the dawn. All those who love her best and will with her till the end will make the Mary Helen Carter rise again. Scale. She said I like so many times, living through the gale, and the laugh and drunken rats who left her to a sorry grave. They won't laugh in another way. And usually at first he has dealt the final blow. We're spying and bastards lying to you everywhere you go. Turn to put out all your strength and arm and heart and brain, and like the Mary Helen Carter, rise again, rise again, rise again. That her name not be lost to the dawn. All those who love the best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Helen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again. Though your heart may be broken and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, a flame, the Mary Helen Carter rise again. I walked by the dockside one evening so fair, to view the still water and take the salt air. I heard an old fisherman singing this song, saying, take me away, boys, my time is not long. Wrap me up in me oilskins and jumpers, no more on the docks I'll be seen. Tell me your shipmates I'm taking a trip, mate. I'll see you Sunday on Fiddler's Green. Now Fiddler's Green is a place I've heard tell, where the fishermen go if they don't go to hell. coast to Greenland is far, far away. Wrap me up in me oilskins and jumper, no more on the rocks I'll be seen. Just tell me your shipmates I'm taking a trip, mates. I'll see you someday on Fiddler's Green, where the weather is clear and there's never a gale, and the fish come on board with one switch of the tail. You can lie in your hammock, there's no work to do, and the skipper's below making tea for the crew. Wrap me up in me oilskins and jumper, no more on the docks I'll be seen. Just tell me your shipmates I'm taking a trip, mates. I'll see you someday on Fiddler's Green. When you pulled in port and the long trip is through, there's pubs and there's clubs and there's lassies there too. The girls are all pretty and the rum it is free, and there's bottles of beer growing on every tree. Wrap me up in me oilskins and jumper, no more on the docks I'll be seen. Just tell me your shipmates I'm taking a trip, mates. I'll see you someday on Fiddler's Green. Now I don't want a harp or a halo, not me. Just give me a boat and a good rolling sea. I'll play me old squeeze box as we sail along, with the wind in the rigging to sing me a song. Wrap me up in me oilskins and jumper, yes. Just tell me your shipmates I'm taking a trip, mates. I'll see you someday on Fiddler's Green. Wrap me up in me oilskins and jumper, no more on the docks I'll be seen. Just tell your shipmates I'm taking a trip, mates. I'll see you someday on Fiddler's Green. Well, I'm afraid the street lights have come on, and it's time for young Rory to get home to his bed. I've had a fantastic time playing songs for you tonight. I wish we could do it every night. Well, just remember, you can do it for a week straight if you want to come to Ireland with me. Brack Tours, www.bracktours.com. And I want to thank everybody here at Two-Way Street Coffee House. Joel Simpson, who's not here tonight, but he's the man who brought me in. I can't thank him enough. He's such a fantastic man, great singer, great musician. Jennifer Ashley, fabulous. Tim on sound there, thankless job until right now. Thank you, Tim. And thank you for coming out and supporting folk music. They have it here all the time, every Friday night, and they're doing so much for our community and singing songs and keeping folk music alive. It's never going to die as long as we're singing it every night. Isn't that right?
Amen.
Well, there's a song that we like to sing at the end of nights. In our house, well, it's sung at the end of every Irish concert, and it's sung at every celebration we ever had, every going away party, and sadly, every funeral. And we're at that time of year where the summertime is indeed coming. So sing it with me. Good night. Thanks so much for having me out. I hope we can do it all over again. Oh, the summertime is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme goes around the
go. And we'll all go together through that wild mountain tide, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? I will build a love of ours near yonder crystal fountain, and on it I will pile all the flowers of the mountain. Will you go, lassie, go? And we all go together through that wild mountain tide, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? I will build my love of ours near yonder crystal fountain, and on it I will pile all the flowers of the mountain. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together through that wild mountain tide, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together through that wild mountain tide, all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? Thanks very much.
Rory Makem. Okay. Well, as you know, Rory, nobody, and I mean nobody, gets out of the two-way street without an encore. Should we ask Rory to play one more song for us? All right.
Huh. I'm out of songs, so I'll just start at the beginning. That's not true. I'm not out of songs.
That'll be the day.
That'll be the day. I'm sure I will be at some point. All right, I will. Nights like tonight always make me think I was born 30 years too late. I would have loved to have been in Greenwich Village in 1962. I've seen pictures and I've heard all the stories. I was thrilled to see that Bob Dylan movie last year, except for the Irish music scene. That was blasphemy. But I loved seeing New York City portrayed on the big screen exactly how I had it in my head. There's an old picture I used to see all the time, and it's in Liam Clancy's book, where they're all at the gaslight, and they're in this big table, and my father and the Clancys were there, and my mother was there, and they just called her Woman in Black Hat. She would have loved that. And Theo Backel was there, and Oscar Brand, and Pete Lafarge, and Odetta, and Alan Sherman was there.
Hello, mother.
Hello, mother, hello, father. And another folkie from that time, his name was Gene Raskin. Gene was an architect by trade. And he'd written all these books and he taught at NYU. But he wrote a song that paid for his villa in Tuscany. I used to just sing it in my basement, but it's too good of a song to sing on my own. So this is going to wrap it up for tonight because it's exactly how I pictured us all singing these songs. And it's timeless, and we're timeless, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Except for that bad hip I've got. That's too not timeless at all. So good night again. Thanks for coming out. Once upon a time there was a tavern where we used to raise a glass or two. Remember how we laughed away the hours and we dreamed of all the great things we would do. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We live the life we choose, we fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. But then the busy years went rushing by us, lost our starry notions on the way. And if by chance I'd see you in the tavern, we would smile at one another and we'd say, those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We live the life we choose, we fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. Well, just tonight I stood outside the tavern. Nothing seemed the way it used to be. In the glass I saw a strange reflection. Was that lonely fellow really me? Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We live the life we choose, we fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. Well, through the door there clanged familiar laughter. I saw your face, I heard you call my name. Oh, my friend, we're older, but no wiser, for in our hearts the dreams are still the same. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We live the life we choose, we fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. La 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 la. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. We'd sing and dance forever and a day. We live the life we choose, we fight and never lose, for we were young and sure to have our way. La 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 la. Those were the days, oh yes, those were the days. I just heard while we were sitting here in the second half, 7 inches of snow in New Hampshire. All right. It's spring.
Good, thanks, Marty.
How did you